We're coming to you on Tuesday night. I know typically we come to you on Wednesdays. Last week, as you noticed, we didn't have our show. With some scheduling conflicts, but also the Thanksgiving holiday kind of got in the way of things. So we apologize we missed you last week, but again, we're back once again. And Tuesday night, it looks like is going to be moving forward, our new day for the show. So hopefully you're able to catch it tonight. You're not showing up 24 hours later tomorrow, and you've missed it. But if you are, of course, you can always rewatch it. With that being said, we've made some tweaks to the fight card. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We have a special treat for you a little later on in the show as well. I'm not going to tell you what that is quite yet, but you're going to like it. And we'll go into some other things, just like we do each and every week with other sports venues. But to start off with, once again, we're going to start talking about the fight card. With that card, remember, December 12th, it's coming up, guys, just a week and a half away. December 12th, right here, downtown Lake Worth, outside venue at the Bamboo Room. Doors open at 6:30. First fight starts at 7:30. Tickets are on sale now. We still have some available. You have to download that app, RIZE FC. Download the app, purchase your tickets. We got great prices, still got great seats available for you. Beyond that, I want to talk to you about the Team MMA card, but we'll get into that in a second. First, we're going to talk about the prelims. I'm going to introduce my co-host, David. I didn't mention I'm Mike, but I think you know that already. We're jumping ahead. David, what we got going on with this fight card?
A whole lot. We got over 10 prelims stacked up. Everyone's amped up, training, ready to go. I'm super excited. Tickets are starting to fly off the shelves. You can download the RIZE FC app, and then you can get the tickets directly through that. Like you said, we had a sneak peek at a surprise we're going to bring up to you a little bit later, but I'm pumped, and all the guys at the Team MMA is all definitely training hard and ready for the fight, so I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm ready for it too. It looks like, I think you just mentioned, quite a bunch of fights that we have going on prelims. We got probably maybe close to 10 fights, prelim fights, in addition to the Team MMA. So we won't disappoint, and we've mentioned that before. We're making some tweaks and some changes here and there to the card, but that's understandable for any fight card. It has been actually quite taxing, so we give a lot of respect to our CEO, owner of the company of RIZE, Armando Gonzalez. He's just been like burning the midnight oil on this thing, trying to get this done. He's also been running down to Miami and getting some interviews with some of these fighters. We're trying to keep everything intact and bring what we promised you. So no matter what, you're going to see a lot of activity and a lot of action that night. You will not be disappointed. So what do we know about these prelim fights, David?
We got a lot of guys getting ready to go. We have almost in every weight class: bantam, welterweight, featherweight, light heavyweight, some more lightweights, another heavyweight, another bantamweight, welterweight. We're going to have it all. It's going to be a kickboxing fight as well. We've interviewed mostly all the guys on here, plus some additional guys. People that are super experienced, to people that have, apparently dad super famous boxing dads and everything else. So it's going to be the whole package. And the prelim main event, Felipe, he's a tank. Super confident, ready to go, amped up. Like I said, he's just oozing with confidence, and he's super game versus his opponent. I think they call him the relentless Alexis Fernandez. I'm excited to see him. He looks like he's training pretty hard, and I'm super pumped. And additionally, we got the Team MMA people. David Bell's still been training his ass off. We got George Molina. He's going to be fighting David Bell now. He came in game. It might be turning into more of a striking combat with that. Justin Starks is coming back for some more devastation. That's right. I can't wait to see him going against a Perry brother. There's two Perry brothers on the Hard Knocks. Brandon Carroll is going to fight the other Perry brother. Brandon Carroll's been training his ass off as well. He saves lives and takes lives, apparently. So I can't wait for that. Gustavo's been getting his cardio up. He's at Team Miami Tigers. Nelton Marsh as well. He's planning on going pro. I believe a few of these guys are planning on going pro too. So right. The coolest thing is seeing people that are about to go pro, knowing that they could potentially be, UFC champs or any kind of other amazing champions in the future, and to see them what they are beforehand is one of the coolest things. So I'm super ready for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with some of these guys. I mean, these guys are some great fighters. You know, they're training with, I mean, some of the UFC's best right now in preparation for these fights coming up here in a couple of weeks. And that says something about it. You know, everybody's taking it very, very seriously. Exactly. Some of these guys just coming into this and, you know, don't let their records fool you or their novice ability fool you, because they're training like they're pros now.
Right.
So they're ready to go. And you mentioned the Perry brothers. Those are new additions. These guys just got added to the card recently. They're going to be jumping into the Team MMA event to replace a couple of people. These guys have a lot of experience. You got Abasi Perry and Idris Perry. The two of them, you know, they definitely bring some skill. You said they're from Hard Knocks. That's where they've been training down there. Right. It's a no-joke gym. I mean, they're definitely going to be bringing it too. So it's interesting to see what Brandon Carroll and Justin Starks think of that, because, you know, they really didn't have any information on them before recently. But I guess the same thing goes to the other side of the coin. So we don't really know what we're in for. Right. We could be in for something amazing.
Exactly.
We just don't know yet. Interesting to see exactly how this is all going to pan out. And a stacked card. We've spoken with some of these people. I know you've seen some of these interviews that we've had on the show. We're going to try to bring you a couple of more even before fight night. And then also, you know, some of these promos that are coming up, just keep paying attention to the app, keep paying attention to the website. There's actually a promo out there right now with Justin Starks and Idris Perry.
I love that promo.
That was great.
Yeah.
That just got put up there yesterday. Right. So that looks great. It's definitely something you guys can get a better idea of who these guys are by looking at that. But hey, YouTube them, pull up their names, find out their background, check out their gyms. There's a lot you can learn about these guys even before the fight shows up. You can root on your favorite guy at that point.
It's true. And another thing I'm really excited about is the venue. It's going to be at the Bamboo Room, as we mentioned previously. It's open spacing, so there's you know, it's going to be really neat. It's going to be easy to see everything. Going to be outside, so you don't have to worry about COVID as far as anything as getting too close to anybody. Apparently there might be fireworks or something, I was told, or, you know, it's going to be a really neat event. There's also a couple surprises I've heard also in the works that's going to be added to the event as well. It's going to be amazing. So I highly recommend you come out here. I know all my friends are coming, most people I know, and if they can't make it, they're going to put on the app or stream or go on Roku and watch the event. So it's going to be neat.
Right. I mean, it's 9:30 at night right now. It's 55 degrees outside. Yeah, I don't know what the weather's going to be like a week from Saturday. I don't think the cold front's coming back through, but, you know, anywhere between this temperature and what we've been dealing with the last few days, it's going to be beautiful to be sitting outside and watch this event. Hurricane season ended yesterday, thankfully. That was the longest hurricane season I think I've ever been through in my life. So happy that that's over, that's gone. Hopefully don't expect any rain, just beautiful weather.
I hope it warms up a little bit, because I had 3 shirts on today and a jacket, so I'm freezing, you know, but as long as it's a little warmer, I'll be happy, but I guess I'll have to bundle up if it gets that cold again, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we were cracking jokes earlier about that, right?
Yeah.
He was gonna wear the 3 layers to close onto the show, and I said, look, I'd have to ask these guys, which guy do you think is from up north?
Yeah, so I still got 3 layers on right now as a 4th layer.
Take a stab at it. But all right, so, you know, with that, I was mentioning earlier in the show that we're gonna have a surprise for them, right? A little treat. We're gonna bring that on before we even talk about the other stuff. And so the winners of these fights, the winners of the Team MMA events, of course, first thing is they're going to have a special gift provided to them. We've mentioned this before. Right. We've told them to bring their towels, bring their bathing suits. We still don't even exactly know where they're going to be going, but they're going to be getting a nice trip out of this, so it's something to be fighting for. But not only that, and not only to have the fame of being the winner of the contest, in addition to that, they're going to get a beautiful belt, guys. And you know what? The belts have been made. This is your treat. You get a sneak preview right now of exactly what these belts are going to look like. They've just been created live on the show right now. We got Armando backstage. He's coming out with the belt right now.
Drum roll.
This is the belt set and everything like that. He's also bringing the spit buckets that night. You'll see.
He's a one-man show. The guy does it all.
He's working on cuts in the corner.
And like you said, he's put a lot of work with this whole COVID thing. I mean, football can't even continue. We're still waiting for the Ravens and Steelers game, and Armando's still presenting this fights, and he made all the motions move. So I'm really proud of him taking care of that. And like I said, every time I speak to him, it's another stressful situation. I would have all grays if I was him, so I don't know how he does it. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, and I know we're going to talk football a little later, but I was going to ask you if you've seen that meme yet of Roethlisberger and Lamar Jackson with their gray beards down to their
I sent it
ankles.
to you.
You're the one who sent it, yeah. Just sitting there waiting forever for that thing, right?
We'll see what happens. It's honestly, it's pretty scary that a whole team get wiped out, and so many teams are being affected by that. So many different football teams and every other organization, that anyone that's putting on any kind of sporting event has to get a lot of credit. And it's just to be a matchmaker and be able to put this together, especially with amateurs that aren't fighting for necessarily money, but more pride and belts and things of that nature. It's that much more difficult. So hats off to him for sure.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's the world of MMA as far as we have it. Our Team MMA concept and so forth, and we'll get into more of it next week. Once again, we're shaping up the card just a little bit. We got some adjustments. We're not really going to go into who's fighting who right now. A couple more tweaks probably next week. We'll let you know. But I got to tell you again, we're looking at 13, 14, maybe even 15 fights by the time fight night comes around. So Be prepared for that. Make sure you do get those tickets because they will go fast. We're limited seating outside.
But I will touch on real fast that I would say Jason Bray versus Philip Jackson is one of my favorite prelim fights. Jason Bray is a wild, crazy guy that we spoke to previously. Seems pretty educated, really dedicated to his craft. From Hawaii, and talked about being the jiu-jitsu spoiler because he believes in catch wrestling and super passionate. I see him training all the time on Instagram, and his opponent apparently his dad is a famous boxer, has a famous good trainers. He's very modest at speaking to him, but you could tell he's a high-level athlete. So that's going to be one of the most stout fights on the card. I mentioned, like I said, Felipe. Monster, super confident. John Lopez is coming back versus Blake LaRosa. He's also from Hawaii, training with Jason Bray every day, going ham sandwich on every single workout. I'm expecting that to be super fireworks. I know they're not coming from Hawaii for no reason. Even Jason Bray mentioned he's going to come here and take the next Team MMA belt. That's his next goal. So, I'm really pumped to see these guys travel all that way and come, show what they've been working on. And then Team MMA, I'm still excited to see Brandon Carroll fight. He didn't get the chance to fight last time. He's been training, so God knows how long this camp has been. But every time I see him on every social media platform, the guy is working hard, and everyone I know that's trained with him is just nothing but kudos towards his effort and his dedication. And like I said, he has all the funny puns and stuff, the things that get you thinking. And also David Bell, he didn't get an opportunity to fight last time. His opponent was switched, but at the same time, David Bell's, like I said, same kind of thing. David Bell's been training hardcore for this event for, 6 months now, at least, looking like a tank. And George Molina's coming back with something to prove after his last loss in the last show. Like I saw in his eyes how upset he was that he wasn't able to take the fight to where he wanted to go. Obviously, his opponent was a pretty well grappler, so I feel like that he's going to come back that much stronger and probably worked on all the places that he made a mistake on, and just prove something. So, and also Nelton Marsh, he's planning on going pro, and that guy he wants to come in and put a staple on his amateur career. So we have all these guys amped up, like I said, the Perrys as well. These guys are coming down. I believe they're from Michigan, and they're ready to put on, show what their names are about. Maybe be the next Diaz brothers at MMA. So we'll see.
You never know.
You never know. So like I said, and plus all the other guys that's on these card. It's amazing. It's going to be super neat. I definitely recommend you guys check it out for sure.
Yeah, and then again, we'll have the final lineup, for you at some point next week, just to kind of tighten it up, let you know exactly what it's going to be like, and then, show up next Saturday night. You get to see it all happen.
Doors open at 6:30. Fights start at 7:30 promptly, and it's gonna be amazing. Hopefully the weather will be perfect, and most likely will be a little less hot than usual. So it should be really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm expecting that. So that's our Team MMA. Now let's talk a little bit about UFC. What's been going on?
Well, we took off last week, so I was just touch on, Valentina Shevchenko. She retained her belt with decision. She went against a pretty game opponent. I was pretty surprised at how well she did. Versus her, she's really, really well-rounded and really dominant. So to get a decision, I give kudos to her opponent. And Figueroa is actually finished the gentleman in the first round, and that guy was from the Contender. he looked amazing. Apparently he's going to fight. He's going to have the fastest turnaround in UFC history for a champion. I think he's on the next card. So it's going to be neat to see him fighting. I like his backstory. He was a sushi chef, and then he was a hairdresser, and now he's a UFC fighter. So, don't think any hairdresser might not beat you up, because this guy, he's a hairdresser. He does it all, and I wouldn't underestimate him. Also, this last card, Anthony Smith came back and finally won a fight in the first round, which I would say probably saved his UFC career. I think he was on like a 3-fight skid, which is frustrating for any person. Nice guy, overweight. It's pretty embarrassing.
Right.
I heard he was sending Tim Means some pictures of him eating cheeseburgers and fries and everything else. So you get what you eat, I suppose. Maybe if you would have tried a little harder and didn't eat so much, you might would have done a little better. But I'm not to question him, because he probably can definitely beat me up. So no offense, Mike, if you're watching this.
You'll edit that part out.
Yeah, please scratch that. I met him through Philip Rowe when he fought my buddy Josh. So, but yeah, that's the majority of MMA going on, and I definitely looking forward to the next couple cards for sure.
Yeah. And they sound like they're going to be good ones,
Yeah.
Like all combat sports, there's just so much going on now.
Right.
It's all starting to vamp back up here towards the end of the year.
Right.
Looks like we're going to close out 2020 with a bang.
For sure.
So who would have expected that a couple of months ago, But hopefully the world starts getting back to the way it once was. But, that having been said, kind of jump into boxing a little bit. So, something historic happened over this past weekend, something that never been done before.
Jake Paul.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Did you see all the memes, the Robinson memes?
I haven't seen them. I mean, I'm sure there's
they're
plenty
all
of
over
them
the
out
place.
there.
Like him laid out, So
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I'm not big
That's
into
just-
boxing. Truthfully, I don't watch it too much, but I definitely watched that last card. That was a pretty good one.
Well, that's the thing. So you say boxing, but at the same breath, you said Nate Robinson. So you can't put those two things in the same sentence, unfortunately. Even with Jake Paul, the verdict isn't quite in on that one yet.
Yeah.
So
He's fighting McGregor next, I heard.
oh, is that what he said?
That's what he wants to say, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how that one
He says he
goes.
wants to fight Dylan Dananis, and then he wants to fight McGregor after that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's, hopefully Nate Robinson doesn't think about stepping back into a ring again, because if he wasn't hurt enough this time, next time it could be much worse for him. So there's just certain guys that just should not take on that sport. I don't care how athletic you are. It just doesn't work.
I give credit to Jake Paul, though. I watched his post-fight interview, and he said, I have an $8 million mansion, that I have, and I haven't been to it in a year, that I've just been focusing on training, and I've put down movie deals and every kind of other promotion that could be, putting content on my YouTube fame and everything else. But I want to dedicate myself to boxing, and I am boxing now. So that's, that's elite. At least he's taking everything serious, and he seems like he's ready to take it to the next level, which is pretty cool.
I know that I think it was more of Logan that was training with him, but he was training with Shannon Briggs for a while. And you get a guy like that knows exactly what he's doing. The knockout artist has got more knockouts than anyone else first round in history. Right. This is the kind of guy that you want to, take lessons from.
For sure.
Learn a little bit about that. So, good luck to them. I mean, hopefully they can turn it into, something real. But, of course, on that was just part of the actual card. The real historic moment, of course, was Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. lacing it up and facing each other. I think back to, 20-plus years ago when they started to try to make this fight happen. And there was rumors it was going to happen. It just never came to fruition. Mm-hmm. Tyson had some issues going on at the time, and then Jones stepped up to heavyweight. He fought John Ruiz. He got the belt, but at that time, Tyson wasn't in a position to fight him. He had to step back down to light heavyweight. Then Tyson was back. They just kept missing each other, Mm-hmm. But a beautiful thing that all these years later, they can turn around and actually make this fight happen. Albeit, an exhibition match. 12-ounce gloves, 2-minute rounds, not allowed to knock each other out. Any cuts were going to stop the fight. I mean, Tyson was trying his desperate, try not to hit him with uppercuts to knock him out. It wasn't exactly the kind of fight they could have had, but it was definitely nice to be able to see what they could do and actually show the moves that they still actually have well into their 50s. Especially Tyson, 15 years after he stepped foot in a ring.
And I honestly was more leaning towards Jones initially because he's had so much more experience recently as of 2 or 3 years fighting. But like Tyson said at his post-fight, you guys are worried about Roy Jones. What about me? I haven't fought in 15 years. You guys, what about my ass? Or whatever he said.
That's what he said, yeah.
So he's right, and he looked like $1 million, and compared to what I thought he would look like from not fighting for so long, I don't know if you can pay me that much. You have to pay me quite a bit to step in the ring with him for sure, because he definitely looked like a tank, and his cardio was there, and he was moving, and he was rolling, and he looked great. Honestly, he definitely looked like still, I wouldn't say in his prime, but he's still up there for
sure. He's a capable fighter for sure. He lost something close to about 100 pounds actually to get back in shape for this fight.
Yeah, I saw actually the before and after pictures. It's crazy.
So he did take it seriously because he had that chip on his shoulder just a little bit. He had some cobwebs. I just liked he looked so satisfied when it was over.
For sure.
So those of you who didn't actually get the chance to watch the fight, like I said, they both showed signs of great ability. Tyson landed more shots. He, of course, landed the harder power shots, which was to be expected. But Jones got to throw his flurries in there. Mm-hmm. He showed some defense in typical Roy Jones style. I knew that arm was going to start hanging down. I was talking to Gerardo about that just before it happened. Matter of fact, I said, that arm's going to fall. Just wait for it. And by the end of the second round, I think he started getting to his groove. So great to see those things still coming back. And I hope that they try to do something like this again. Look, everybody's wondering, was that it? They did it, it's over? No, it's not over. It's far from over. Mike Tyson created a label called Legends Only League. Mm-hmm. He didn't create it to have one fight.
Right.
He created it so that people just like them can do this over and over and over. So expect to see a lot more fights like this, including Tyson.
Yes,
and if Jones wants to be on the card, he's welcome to, because Tyson mentioned that already. They may not fight each other, but Holyfield's been calling out Tyson. Did they want to have that trilogy fight? Right. They'd like to see that. I know it's sort of like the rumors of who should have fought Tyson to begin with all this time anyway. Right. But look, because these guys didn't really seriously get hurt, I think there was some bruised ribs and things like that on Jones' part because Tyson was just plugging away at the body. But because they didn't seriously get hurt, it's going to entice a lot more of these fighters to say, you know what, I'll come back in. Sure. So you got 58-year-old Holyfield saying, and he's in great shape. Yeah. He used to see this guy all the time. He's always in shape. Sure. So to see that fight happen, that'd be something. So we look forward to seeing what the future might hold for these two guys. The fight did come down to a draw, but if you were paying attention to the rules beforehand, they basically said there was not going to be a declared winner. Right. So it was going to only be a draw. Now, with that being said, they had celebrity, famous former boxing champion judges rather than the standard judges within the state of California. So you had Chad Dawson, Christy Martin, and Vinny Pazienza. I think Pazienza's card was sort of off the walls. But between the three of them, they made the fight a draw and nobody complained about it. Mm-hmm. It was worth it. I
like how Tyson also said that. He critiqued, in his post-fight interview, he said, what would you do if something better? And he said, everything. I can do every single thing better. And I like how he's obviously a boxing expert, but he's willing to go back and put the work in to make himself that much sharper.
Right. So now earlier on that day, on the same day on Saturday, actually, two of the best heavyweight prospects, both undefeated, actually faced off with each other. This is the kind of fight you don't typically think you'd see until one of them had a belt. These guys were willing to stand in front of each other and have this fight. So you had Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois, Triple D. Daniel Dubois, they called him the next Tyson. People were referring to him with his power, his ability, what he was capable of doing. They thought that, this guy was unstoppable. Well, he met up with 6'6", 250-pound Joe Joyce, and Joe Joyce had something to say about that. Dubois, on my card, was actually winning the fight until Joyce threw a great left cross, popped him right in his left eye. Dubois took a step back, he took a knee, he willingly took a 10 count. Wow. People are questioning, did this guy just quit? What the heck was that? No. If you haven't heard yet, he broke his orbital bone with that shot. Once he did that, he was blurred. He couldn't see. He felt it, the pain coming through. Just wasn't really much he could do about that. I've seen a lot of champs go down with that same kind of a shot. So Daniel Dubois will be back. He'll come back even better than he was before. But Joe Joyce now moves into the number 2 mandatory. So he's kind of in line now, looking after Anthony Joshua, should Joshua, of course, get through his next fight, which is Kubrat Pulev coming up on the 12th. So we'll see how that goes for those guys. And this Saturday, just to cap this off with this, Errol Spence is back. 15 months removed from his last fight and a year removed from that horrific car accident, if you didn't know about that, where the car flipped over 6,000 times. And he had to go through a ridiculous amount of rehab to try to get himself fixed. His Lamborghini was completely totaled. He's back. He's going to be stepping back in the ring, fighting 2-division champ Danny Garcia. You know, it's for both those belts that Errol Spence currently holds right now. It should be one of the best welterweight fights that could possibly be made today. So that's coming up this Saturday. Be sure to tune into that one. And beyond that, locally here in South Florida, this Thursday, Dada 5000's got his BYB event. It's Backyard Brawls. If you guys haven't seen this or heard about this, this is really something. This is bare knuckle fighting at its best. The last event was held March. It was actually the last sporting event that was even held in the state of Florida. And it did not disappoint. Every fight, with the exception of one, was a knockout. And it's an amazing thing. He's got this trigon, triangular shaped trigon, where you get cornered in one of those corners. You're literally cornered. You're not getting out of that thing unless you punch your way out of it. So it's a great concept. It's a lot of action. It's going to be held at the Hard Rock down in Hollywood this Thursday. Unfortunately, it's closed door. No fans are going to be allowed. Gerardo and myself, we're going to be popping in there as guests just to take a quick look and see what it is. But we're not allowed to reveal any information about what happens in the fight until after the 12th, which is when Fight TV will air that event. So we'll talk to you guys more about it after everyone's able to see it.
You're good at releasing stuff.
Yeah, we might cap off a little hint or two or a secret or something here or there if we can. But I know Gerard can take some excellent pictures, so we'll have some things to show you also. And this Friday is a great black tie event. If you guys don't know who Henry Revolta is, he's an amazing guy here in the boxing community, and he's come back with his Revolta boxing. He's coming back strong. He's throwing back to the old black tie events like they used to have back in the boxing days. There's a light heavyweight title that's going to be on the line. There's going to be several Hall of Fame boxers in attendance, and VIP tables are still on sale if anybody wants to do that. There's a limited amount of public allowed to be. All the general admission tickets are gone, but VIP tables are still available, so you can check that out at revoltaboxing.com. And that's as far as what's going on with boxing for now. We'll definitely talk more about that next week, tell you some of the results of some of the things that are going on the next few days. So let's move on to NFL. David, what's been going on with the Dolphins?
Miami Dolphins, we beat the Jets, which is always the best feeling ever. 20-3. They didn't score a touchdown on us. We're rolling again. Fitzpatrick took over the helm. He was pretty flawless on his performance. I was pretty impressed. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with both Tua and Fitzpatrick. Who's going to be better? Who's doing what? Tua has a thumb injury or something like that. I mean, I like the veteran, truthfully, to help take it. I wouldn't even mind seeing them both switch off occasionally, kind of like Taysom Hill and Drew Brees. I'd do that if I was the coach, but I'm not the coach and I don't know what I'm talking about. So, and also as far as other stuff, we got still waiting for the Ravens versus the Steelers. I don't know if I'm gonna win my fantasy football games yet. I got Roethlisberger at the helm, waiting to hopefully help me dominate my fantasy football year. But we'll see. Hopefully, it's gonna take place tomorrow. I think at 2:40 or something like that. This whole COVID thing's been so bad. The Lamar Jackson, I think 18 players from the Ravens are out. So we'll see what happens. Right now I'm riding the Steelers bandwagon, so we'll see what happens for that.
Yeah.
The Chiefs beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, the Chiefs are the best. It's hard to beat them, but the Bucks put up a good fight. A lot of good games going on, so I'm excited to see what happens,
Yeah, so as far as Tua is concerned, I heard about the thumb injury last week, but that was after, of course, last Sunday when they had benched Tua towards the end of the game.
Like 6 sacks or something like that.
So my question was, does he have a thumb injury? You even mentioned, or something like that. And I'm wondering, is it something like that or really what it is? Because I'm just not sure if they're completely comfortable with him at the helm. Maybe they're trying to protect him just a little bit more. Maybe they think he's not 100% ready. But like you said, bringing him in sparingly, especially to complement Fitzpatrick, which can definitely hold the thing together. I mean, it would be a great idea, to bring him in and just get him prepared.
You got to write a letter to Flores, dear Mr. Flores. I have an idea.
You watch the show, Brian? You watching?
Please, Coach, come on, Coach. Put me in there. I'll be an assistant.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game, I think it's set for 3:40 tomorrow afternoon, and Lamar Jackson is still out. But because it's pushed off one more day, a couple of running backs, including Mark Ingram, get to come back onto the squad. So, you're losing your best player, but you got a couple of great ones coming back in. Right. Is it going to matter, though, when they play Pittsburgh?
It might. It's a divisional matchup, and they hate each other, and they try their hardest. So it might be more. It's like a Super Bowl game for them necessarily. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, the Steelers are definitely going to the Super Bowl or the playoffs, but maybe the Super Bowl with their team so far. But we'll see what happens. The Ravens really want to win, so we'll see how hard they play.
Yeah, I don't think Baltimore's going to lay down by any means. I think they're going to do whatever they can possibly do and just leave it out on the field.
Right.
But, if Pittsburgh takes them lightly, they can make a real good game out of this. If Pittsburgh is very focused and concentrated, I know that Mike Tomlin's a great coach when it comes to the discipline factor.
Their running back's out too, James Conner. So
That's right. Yeah. He's out with COVID. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So that could be a factor. It may not be as much of a blowout as people really think it's going to be.
Right.
I still expect Pittsburgh to be victorious, but maybe a better game than you think. So, hey, look, what else are you doing at 3:40 in the afternoon tomorrow?
I know.
It's not like you have a job.
I've never had so much suspense in fantasy football too. Like I said, we're waiting until Wednesday now, so who knows what's going to happen.
So we'll see how that goes. And then one thing I thought was interesting in the NFL was, the New Orleans-Denver game. If you hadn't caught that before, all 4 of the quarterbacks on the roster for Denver were unable to play.
Right. They're exposed to COVID.
So they brought in
the wide receiver,
a wide receiver from the practice squad who was a quarterback in college some point in the history, whatever. And so Denver recorded a total of 12 net passing yards the entire game.
Right.
And he had 1 completion and 2 interceptions. It's the least it's ever happened, I think, in the NFL period. So
it's funny, they tried using the assistant coach first before they used that
That's
player.
right. I heard about that.
The NFL denied the assistant coach.
So that didn't go too well for Denver, unfortunately. But it's about protocol. It's not about, the fairness of it. And, with Philly, I don't know if you noticed this too, but Carson Wentz now has a league-high 15 interceptions and 65 sacks. So congratulations to him for being the worst quarterback in the league.
I'll try. Philadelphia Eagles wants to give me a walk-on. I'll definitely consider it for sure.
But so Jalen Hurts got to take 3 snaps this past week. The rookie coming out, and we'll see. We'll see if the helm starts to change. I think they're going to give Wentz one more shot.
Their defense isn't the worst, honestly. They held up pretty decent versus the Seahawks, who's a passing machine. So I give them a lot of credit for that. But
But you got one more shot, Carson. Carson, one more.
That's it.
You make any more mistakes, Jalen's coming in and he's right there at your heels. So we'll see how that goes. And then because of the game tomorrow, they're pushing other games back next week beyond that. So they get Monday and Tuesday games coming up the following week because they have to kind of balance it out. So it should be kind of a shit show. But I guess we'll see how that goes, right? And then in college football, just to close that out, Trevor Lawrence finally made his appearance after a month hiatus.
Who?
Exactly, right? Almost forgot about this guy. So number 3, Clemson. Trevor Lawrence missed the first 2 games. Then the game last week, unfortunately, he missed because they showed up at FSU Stadium. And as soon as they showed up, FSU said, get out of here. I heard something about the word COVID. Leave. And FSU did this 2 weeks in a row, by the way. But Trevor Lawrence, after a month hiatus, finally got to come back, and he just put a beat down on Pitt. 52-17. We'll see. He's still in the Heisman race yet. As far as Ohio State's concerned, that whole team might be gone pretty soon. They played 4 full games. That's all they've played all season. If they don't play another game this next Saturday, they're out of the Big Ten championship game. They're not allowed. They're not eligible, which means they'll be knocked out of the football playoffs altogether. So it was a very promising season for them, but it may be gone. It may be over already. So we'll see how everything goes in football. This isn't over. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of these extensions and suspensions and all this stuff. But we'll get back to it again.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see a Super Bowl. Hopefully we see a college championship game.
And to bring it back to Armando making all these fights happen with all this COVID and all the stuff, a lot of credit to him because, God, he can't even get a football game going. So
That's right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. We're still waiting for the Steelers game. So, it's a tough task for all these sports.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. And, going back, like you just said, all props to Armando. And, we're doing what we can to kind of keep you guys in the know with what's going on. Again, we're going to start doing these shows, looks like every Tuesday night now. So make sure you tune in on Tuesdays, no longer Wednesdays. Just better for scheduling purposes for everybody. We should be back next Tuesday, which will be the last show we have before our weigh-ins at the end of the week before our event. So weigh-ins would be Friday. The fight card itself will be on Saturday. And again, the app, RIZE FC, download the app, purchase your tickets. You can check out all the content. You can see all the promos that are coming up as they get added. It's going to be a great fight event. You're not going to want to miss this. 5 of these are going to be handed out next week. 5. You're going to see 5 champions strapped with belts by the end of the night. You're not going to want to miss that. You're definitely going to want to see that. So, for everybody here, down here at downtown Lake Worth in the Bamboo Room, our great photographer, video editor, stage manager, Gerardo Ramos, CEO of RIZE back there, and spit bucket guy and belt holder dude, Armando Gonzalez, my partner David Shore. I'm Mike Feinberg. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe.
Take care.